Yeah, so it's a pleasure for me to come here to share some of our recent research on social relationship and marital status. So we all know social relationships are very important in later life, and it's one of the strongest prediction actually of health and life satisfaction. And previous research has suggested that the unmarried may be at a disadvantage in personal networks and social support. However, when we look at the literature, it's actually there's very little research on the quantity and especially quality of social relationships, whether they differ by marital status, and whether the unmarried seek more friendship and family support to compensate for a lack of marital support in later life. And especially there's little research on the social relationships of the remarried and cohabitors in later life, which actually is a growing group in later life. So actually in sociology, there are two actually competing perspectives on marriage as a social institution. And the one perspective, I'll term it as the marriage as an integrative institution perspective, suggests that marriage can actually foster and enhance multiple social relationships by providing resources and opportunities for social interactions. And on the other hand, marital disruption, especially divorce, can disrupt shared social relationships as well as neighborhood ties, especially when, after divorce, people sell their homes and move to different areas. And in terms of empirical research, we found one study that found married adults reported higher life satisfaction with their social relationships compared to the divorced, widowed, and never married. And there's a lot of research showing, many divorced men and women experience losses in their social network after divorce. And there's also a lot of research showing parental divorce is associated with less contact and lower parent-child relationship quality, especially for divorced fathers. But on the other hand, actually, in the past, I think 20 to 30 years, there's also a perspective called marriage as a greedy institution perspective. So the idea is actually, we all have very high expectation for marriage, and the demands are so high, for a modern marriage that can leave little time for the married people to invest in other very important social ties in the wider community. So in this perspective, marriage may compete with, other social ties, such as, friends and family members, right? To undermine a couple's ties to their extended families, including their parents, older siblings, and even as their friends. So there are two studies I found that show married US adults are less likely actually to socialize with and provide help to their friends, parents, siblings, and neighbors compared to their unmarried counterparts. So our research actually, we asked two very simple questions. So first we ask, what are similarities and differences in the quantity and quality of the major types of social relationships in the adulthood, including friends, children, and family members across 6 marital groups: first married, remarried, cohabiting, divorced, separated, widowed, and never married. And then we look at whether these kind of links differ by gender. So we used a very large data set called the Health and Retirement Study, and we used the Leave Behind questionnaire. So in our sample, the respondents, they dwell in community. They are aged 51 and older, and our sample size range, over 10,000 American adults. So it's nationally representative. So we look at, as I said, three types of relationships: relationship with friends, children, and family members. And for each of those relationships, we look at 4 dimensions. First, we look at the network size. So we look at the number of close relationship with friends, children, and family member, excluding spouses. So it's not just whether you have a friend, but the question asks how close, do you have a close friend, or children you feel very close, or family member you feel close. And we also look at contact frequency, including, whether they meet up with their friends or speak on the phone, email with their friends, children or family members. And we're also looking at, relationship quality. So perceived support. So whether so how the older adults think, they get support from their friends or family, whether they feel supported, whether they feel loved. And negative social relationship ask questions about, how often you feel like you are criticized by your friends, how often do you feel they get on your nerves. So those kind of negative dimension of social relationship, we see the dark side. So we, as I've said, we look at 6 groups, so we compare them to the first married, and we also control for a lot of the confounders, such as the socioeconomic status, which also relates to social relationships and health. And we also control for other demographic variables like age, gender, race, and okay. So we use a regression model. So I'll skip this and I'll jump directly to the results. So first, let's look at relationships with friends. So first, we look at number of close friends. So actually, you can see, if you're looking at, looking compared to the unmarried with the first married. So the first married is not shown here. So if it's the bar is above 0, it shows like, more close friends. If it's like below 0, it shows, fewer, close friends. And if there's an kind of star here, it means like the difference is significant. So basically you can see, actually in terms of close friends, there's no difference actually between the first married and the divorced, the widowed, and never married. So we don't see a disadvantage in terms of close friends, between the unmarried and the first married, but we do see some difference between the remarried and cohabiting group with the first married. They actually reported fewer close friends than the first married. So that's kind of surprising to us. And when we're looking at contact with friends, and we do see actually, supporting marriage as a kind of greedy institution, actually the unmarried reported much frequent social contact with their friends. Divorced, widowed, never married, all reported on average, more contact with their friend. But how about relationship quality? How do they feel the all very high relationship quality? Is there do they differ by marital status? And here we also show actually the unmarried, the divorced, the widowed, and the never married. The report compared to the first married, they reported significantly higher perceived support from their friends. And we don't see any difference between the remarried and the first married and the cohabiting couple with the first married, but the unmarried seem to have enjoyed, very positive support from their friends. So how about the negative dimension of friends here? We also see, the 4 groups actually have, more strain with their friends. So cohabiting, divorced, widowed, and never married all reported slightly higher, strains with their friends, but there's no difference between the first married and the remarried. So So that's kind of the relationship with their, friends. How about children? So we look at different dimensions, does maritalship, does marital status influence that? So here, when we're looking at marital status, a number of close children, so the parents feel, and there's actually, really, when you're looking at it, there's significant difference, right? But its relationship is, complex. We found the cohabiting, divorced, and never married, reported fewer close children than the first married. And again, there's no difference between the remarried and the first married. And also there's no difference between the widowed and the first married in terms of the number of close children, they have. How about contact with their, adult children? And here we see actually clearly show the first married, had more frequent contact with their children. All the other group, the 5 group here, reported fewer contact with their children. Okay, how about relationship quality, which is very important. So here, in terms of perceived support from their children, we again see like the first married enjoy, greater support. All the unmarried group actually, reported fewer support from their children, and also the remarried, you can also see also significantly different from the first married. They also reported fewer perceived support from their children. How about the perceived strain with their children? Actually, there's not much going on there, right? The unmarried, did not report higher strain with their children, except the remarried, right? And the remarried actually, compared to the first married, they reported slightly higher strain with their children. So that's, so looking at the family relationship, the relationship with your children, definitely it seems like marital status matter, and also remarriage matter. How about relationship with extended family, their family members? Actually, we did not find much there, so I didn't show any graph. It did not seem to matter, actually. The only difference we found is that the remarried reported fewer close family members, lower contact with and support from their family members than the first married. But actually the never married reported both greater support and also strain from their family members. So as I said, we're also looking at gender, whether this kind of relationship, the relationship between marriage and social relationship differ by gender. Actually, in terms of friends, there's not many difference. There's no significant difference. The relationship are the same for man and woman. The most salient, gender, interaction effect is in the relationship with, children. And we do find our research actually are very consistent with previous research, showing that men's relationship with children will hurt more by remarriage, cohabitation, and divorce than women's relationship with their children. It may have to do with, through when they grew up, actually mothers always spend more time with their children. So even, those things occur. Women, did, try, let's say, mother's relationship, with their children were not hurt as much as fathers who, often in the past, had fewer opportunities or, to engage with their children. So in conclusion, we found, in terms of the, 2 type of perspectives on marriage and social relationship, we found the evidence is very mixed. It depends on the social relationships you look at. we found although the unmarried, including divorced, separated, widowed, and never married, are disadvantaged. They are disadvantaged in some dimensions of social relationship, especially in their relationship with their children. But they also show some advantages in their friendship networks, especially in terms of perceived support from their friends and frequent contact with their friends. And we also found that not only marital status matter, but marital history also matters. The remarried, compared to the first married, the remarried had disadvantages in multiple dimensions of social relationships examined compared to the first married. Although the magnitude is small, but we see some disadvantages. And last but not the least, we found, gender interacts with marital status in relationship with children, and remarriage, cohabitation, and divorce have more negative, impact on relationship with children among men than among women. Yeah. So okay. So if you are interested in this paper, it's published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships. There are much more details there. And I also like to thank the support from the National Institute of Aging and the Center for Family and Demographic Research, at Bowling Green State University, where I actually spent 3 years there, as assistant professor, and they are still providing some support for my research. So I also want to thank them. So thank you so much.